It's powerful, insightful, educative, interesting, didactic.
Hello and welcome to another insightful edition on Insights with Victoria Allwell. It's pretty much exciting today, and I am super excited because we'll be talking about how you can make an idea work. Pretty interesting, right? I mean, have you ever been in a situation where you have so much ideas boiling in your heart and you just don't know how to get started, or you're yet to figure out how to make it work? So I'm going to tell you this: you have nothing to worry about at all, because today with us is an interesting personality. He is Dr. Akanimo Odon. He is an international business and strategy development expert who has gained experience working in several capacities with global and international bodies. And today he will be sharing with us how you can make an idea work. Welcome, Dr. Akanimo. It's good to have you here.
An absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Welcome. Great. Okay, so now I'll just go straight into the questions. Now, people say ideas rule the world. What is your opinion about that theory?
To be honest, it's obviously an understandable theory, the fact that ideas rule the world. And I think the backdrop or the premise for that theory is the fact that because the world is kind of bedeviled by challenges on different sides: societal, economic, environmental, social, as the case may be. And so what ideas does is provide an opportunity for specific innovation that is targeted at solving practical problems. And so in that case, ideas rule the world. And I think there is an even interesting premise is the fact that fundamentally, every enterprise, business establishment, government agency, societal factors, whatever the case is fundamentally built on the back of providing a solution to a problem. Coca-Cola, for example, why are they a company? It's because they produce Coke. What does Coke do? Provides an opportunity to quench thirst, or maybe provide sugar in some level. A government agency provides an opportunity to solve problems to communities. So fundamentally, because all enterprises are being set up by default to solve problems, ideas fundamentally now becomes the basis with which problems are solved. So from that premise, ideas rule the world. But if you think about it carefully, ideas doesn't really rule the world, in my view. And the reason is because it actually is the implementation of ideas that rules the world. Because you can have an idea and it remains in your head. That's just an idea. Idea is a perspective, it's an insight, it's a view. It's if you like, a conditioning of your mind and a direction you're thinking about doing. But as long as you're thinking about it, well, nothing is going to happen. So I guess to answer your question with all this, if you like, background, the actual truth is the fact that ideas don't rule the world. It is the implementation of ideas that actually rule the world. I don't know if I answer your question.
Yes, great, brilliant. I liked it when you said what really rules the world is the implementation of ideas. You caught me there. Because I was going to say that so many people, sometimes a few or many people, develop so much great ideas. I think I live in a part of the world, especially here in Nigeria, where people are brilliant, extremely intelligent, and they just come up with great ideas, but they're not able to implement it. So in this regard, how would you say ideas can work? How would you tell an individual who has so much ideas and is yet to implement any to work out his or her ideas?
So I guess the point is, obviously, the beginning of the premise is the fact that you need to have an idea. But then if you stop at that, then nothing is going to happen. So I know, for example, one of the things I get bombarded on by individuals asking me to mentor them is the fact that, oh, they're saying, oh, Doc, I've got this idea I've been brewing for a long time. Can you help? And I ask them a simple question: can you send me a brief of this idea? And they go, oh, okay. And that takes time. Because you see, believe it or not, there is a big jump and a disconnect between having an idea and actually writing it down. So everywhere I go, I've got this book. I go with it everywhere. It's a very simple book. And interestingly, in the era we now live, everybody's got mobile phones. It's a book of ideas, but also because it's written down, the opportunity to transcribe those ideas into potential solutions then becomes a lot more feasible. So I guess my point is, for everyone who has an idea, some specific things you need to do. Think about critically how you would want to kind of move that idea from just a thinking idea or an idea in your mind, which is ethereal, you can touch it, it's abstract, to something tangible. And a very simple way to do that is write it down. As simple as that is, it is the beginning of the process of implementing that idea. Because then, because it's written down, then you can share. So if you met me somewhere and said, it's almost the reason why somebody will tell you, well, I want money. Have you got a proposal? That's always the next question. Because there has to be something documented as a basis to actually generate that idea, but also get people to engage with it. I mean, I can go on and on, but just to answer your question, a fundamental first step is write it down, pen it down, write it out in an outlet, a basis for engagement. You might speak with somebody, share the idea. When they leave, everybody's busy. They go and then they get bombarded by other things. But then if they can refer to a document, an email, a proposal, a plan, an outline, a brief, I mean, it could be in a range of structures, then ultimately you are beginning to get to the point of actually engaging people. I don't know if that answers your question.
Great. Brilliant response. I totally agree with what you just said. Critically think through your idea. That's one. Write it down. That's another thing to do, and then share it. Because of course you have to know exactly what it is you want to do. So writing it down makes it clearer. Yeah, writing it down makes it clearer. And then once that is done, you can share. Okay, so now this brings me to the next question. Is it easy to come up with an idea? So I've seen people who come up with ideas so easily, and then a few other people or many other people who find it quite difficult to come up with just one idea. So do you think there's a problem here? And what do you think the problem is, if there is one?
So that takes me to a different level to answer your question. There's what you call ideation. It's a process of coming up with an idea. And there are different levels to this. Some individuals come up with an idea because of a motivation. Some people come up with an idea because of an experience. Some people come up with an idea because of an exposure, or even like an interaction, a discussion. So, but the point is this: everybody has a potential for ideation. That's the development of ideas. The difference is individuals are not, if you like, sensitive to the ideation process, which is the reason why there is no conscious effort to form the idea. So what do I mean? So you're walking down the road and you see something just flash across your mind. Because you're a human being, you're always thinking. You might think, well, that's a problem, okay? But then if you stop at the problem stage, that means you are hooked. But for an individual who is sensitive to ideas, when you think about the problem, the next thing is, what might be a solution? So generally speaking, ideas come as the result of questioning. So your capacity to question something is what gives you the basis to generate an idea as to what might the solution or the basis of providing a solution to that problem that you've questioned is. Something else. It's research. The more you know, the more your capacity for ideation. So how many people read stuff? So I'll give an example. So you're browsing through the internet and you come up with a solution in Japan that provides, if you like, a basis to solve a problem. Then you're thinking, I wonder if that might be applicable in Nigeria. The only reason you even think of that as an idea is because you were exposed to a solution in Japan. So as long as you're not constantly looking for information, guess what? Your process or your capacity for ideation will be affected. So the more you know, the more you can generate. It's as simple as that. So these are the simple premises why people are not very good with creating ideas. And guess what? An idea can be a genuine, original idea. So you are the beginning and the foundation of its premise. But guess what? An idea can be a revision of an already existing idea. But it's still an idea as long as there is, maybe they want to extend like a business concept, or they want to move into another level or another, if you like, level within their operation, what normally do they do? They get 4 or 5 persons to a room. Why is that important? Because there is something unique and beautiful when you bounce off knowledge between different individuals. That's when the unique ideas begins to pop up. And so, but if you are always in isolation and there is no interaction, when I mean interaction with an external dimension. That can be an individual, it can be a knowledge base, it can be a book, but you are interacting with something else other than yourself, then you don't restrict yourself from your capacity for ideation. That's very important.
Amazing. So when you're not exposed, you're restricting yourself to the capacity to think through ideas and come up with brilliant ideas. And thank you so much for that, Dr. Akanimo. Okay, so now I'm going to ask this question. I've seen people start out an idea. Their issue is not execution. So they started out properly and it's brilliant, but they're not able to see it through to the end. What do you think, is the problem here, and how can this be addressed?
Well, that's a really good question, actually. So you can begin an idea and start to implement it. But then the issue now comes to the sustainability of the idea. Once it's left your mind and there's implementation, it's no longer an idea. Are you following me? Now it's actually a program or project or an operation or whatever it is. And the mistake many people make is the fact that they think ideation, the process of ideation, is only before implementation, and that's it. That's where the mistake is. You need to continually put yourself in a process of ideation or creating ideas even during implementation. So what do I mean? So you have an idea to start something, a project, okay, and it's fantastic. Then you start. The mistake many people make is that when they start, they stop thinking. They say, well, I've gotten it right. No. Actually, you never stop the process of ideation, because initially it was an idea of a project to start. Now you've started, but guess what? Now you need something else. What do you need? You need ideas of how to keep it going. It's a different thing entirely. And so if you're not actually continually thinking, continually engaging, strategizing, evaluating, performance management processes, all of that monitoring, which obviously is the backdrop of research and ideation, then you run into trouble. And which is the reason why many people struggle. Is that something? But that's because initially, when you had this idea, no idea is fully formed from scratch. That's almost impossible, okay? And so when you have an idea, you have the idea to the point where you are confident of actually starting. But then the trouble is, if you're an entrepreneur, when you start, maybe you haven't thought about the full process, which is the reason why within that disconnect between an idea and implementation, always think about piloting. What do I mean? Why is piloting important? Many people don't understand this. So there's this balance between, do I wait and think until everything is perfect in my mind and then I launch? Some people will say, do I wait and think just enough to start and hope that when I start, I can keep thinking to sustain it? There are two kind of theories, two thought processes. But guess what? Good entrepreneurs who actually make things happen are the ones who go with the second one, the second premise. That's the latter, where they think about it just enough to start and try and test, but they know it's not fully formed. And so they are also conscious of keeping the process of thinking, analyzing, and making it better as they deliver. The trouble is, if you just keep thinking, you can think to the kingdom come, but you would never start. What starting does is give you a basis to check if the idea makes sense in the first place. As long as it's an idea, you can't confirm or guarantee if it would work or if it makes sense. And so you start. And when I mean starting doesn't necessarily have to be, if you like, going to invest right away, or buying the house, or having an office. That's what I mean. The best approach really is break the process of implementation into very minute details. What I mean by minute, small little chunks of activities. So I have an idea. I write it down. Find somebody you trust and share the idea. Guess what? You've started. Because now you've written it down. That's an activity. You found somebody you trust. It's an activity. You shared the idea. It's an activity. The person tells you, I'm not quite sure if it's a good idea. That's also progress. Because then what is done for you is, I didn't think about that. You go back to a drawing board and you now reprocess the idea. And then what are you doing? You are doing something. Don't overthink it. You are doing something. So now, I mean, to your question, basically, when the individual has an idea and you implement the idea, never stop breaking it down further, pressing it in your mind, rethinking it, because then you can begin to sustain the idea. That's the difference. Why many people make mistakes.
Oh, wow. So never stop thinking. In between the implementation of your idea, don't stop the thinking processes. You need to break down the process as well of execution, break it down to the minutest details of bits or pieces of activities that needs to be carried out within implementation. And then, of course, we talked about ideation. It's a process. It's an ongoing and continuous process. You must continue in the game of thinking. Yeah, I think I learned something there. That's what happens many times. You have a brilliant idea, you just get started and you forget that, oh my, I need to think through this till the end. And that's where sustainability comes in. So some people start out even as simple as a business, and within 5 years they are folding up because they stop thinking. And that's where personal development too comes in. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Akanimo. What would be your round of statement or advice to you? Said a lot already. Brilliant discussion.
So there's something very, very important, and I would imagine for your audiences, you don't have to do anything on your own. I think there's something I talk about a lot, is the fact that there actually is a lot of available resources around you never even consider. Let me give you a very simple example. You have an idea, okay, and everybody's got mobile phone. Have you actually got on Google? It's an app everybody has, and just said, okay, well, Google the idea and find out who is doing it. Is anybody doing it anywhere? It's a simple example of a resource, and that's free. Well, obviously, besides paying for the internet to actually browse it, but that's free. Find out, for example, if you're a student, this is very important for students. You're in a campus, okay? Within the campus, you've got other students, you've got, if you're a student, okay, and on campus, you've got other students, but you've got a lot of resources you never consider. What have you got? You've got maybe classrooms, you've got potential target audiences to try an idea on. You've got access to professors, lecturers, who are potential experts in one form of your idea or the other. You've got partnerships. You've got access to potential mentors. My point is that always understand that when you start an idea, there usually is an availability of different forms of resources to help you to move that idea from one level to the other. That's very, very important. People need to realize that. So somebody will ask me, oh, Doc, I have an idea, but the point is, I'm looking for funding. And I said, well, have you written it down? Well, I have not. But you can't be looking for funding if you haven't even written it down. Another example, you have an idea, you're looking for funding. And I ask you, do you know who gives money or who gives funding? And you say no. And like, that's a bit strange. How can you be looking for money and you don't know who gives money? If I was looking for money, the first thing I want to find out is who gives this money? And guess what? A simple Google search will tell you who gives money. Just Google, for example, international funders in business, international funders in agri. On my laptop, I have an Excel spreadsheet. That's why I can't be broke. Why would you be broke when I know everybody who gives money? It sounds very minimalistic, but it's true. On my laptop, I have an Excel spreadsheet of over 250 international funding bodies. People who give small money, big money, little money. So, and people don't get this. Before COVID, that's last year, normally I would do over 25 countries, travel across Africa yearly. That's true. I travel that much. Then I tell people that, guess what? With how much I travel yearly for the last 4 or 5 years, I've done over 25 countries every year. The last time I remember paying for flight, international flight accommodation from my own personal pocket was maybe over 5 years ago. And why? Because I know people who would pay for stuff. So it's as simple as that. Just knowing important to making your idea work is absolutely crucial. So somebody will tell you, well, Doc, I have this idea. And I ask them, so do you know who is doing that same thing in Lagos? So you don't even know your competitors. You have an idea, but maybe somebody has already done it. Do you know? So my point is there are a lot of things that places you professionally in terms of implementation of the idea. Some people have amazing ideas, but they don't have the skills or extra knowledge required to implement the idea. So I ask them, so have you done a course or some kind of a knowledge capacity building that could help you know a lot more about this idea to be able to implement it? They will say no. I say, like, have you actually Googled free international courses? Just try it. Just go to Google and Google free, and I use, so put free in the search. Free international courses, media. You would be amazed at how many free international courses are available you can take just to increase your knowledge around the area or subject matter of the idea. What am I saying? Ideas will always come, but it is your positioning to put yourself in a place of authority, knowledge, and capacity to implement the idea. And I'll end with this. I meet many people who would tell me, I have an idea, but I never have time. And that's a lie. Because guess what? You actually do have time. The trouble is the fact that you don't understand the power behind your idea. So what do I mean? And I do a simple experiment, and I do this all the time. So I met somebody who would tell me, well, Prof, I have an idea. I have an idea. I say, well, what have you done with it? Oh, I'm so busy with work. I never really had time to pursue it. So I always do what I call the money trigger. So I say, imagine, for example, I told you, I love that idea of yours. And I know you're very, very busy, but I would invest $1 million in that idea if you could continue doing the work you are doing, which is taking all your time, but then provide me a business plan, a process, evidences that shows to me that you are serious about implementing the idea, then I will give you $1 million. What do you think would happen? Then all of a sudden, people get innovative. Time management kicks in. Time is no longer a problem because there is a factor, a driver, a trigger. So what have I done for myself? Each time I have an idea, I create self-triggers to keep me on the idea. And a good way of doing that is give that idea or share with somebody of responsibility who can literally hassle you and ask you, what happened? You told me you had this idea. What have you done with it? Because it places a responsibility on you to think about how you might want to implement the idea from one level to the other. I think I'll stop at this point. There is too many things to say, but my point is there is always resources for people to move that idea to the next level.
It was quite an enlightening session with Dr. Akanimo just now. I'm sure you learned one or two things. And just like Dr. Akanimo said, you must pay attention to systematic thinking, ideation, ongoing and continuous creation of ideas. You know, it doesn't stop even while you're implementing. And of course, systematic research. Make Google your friend. Search, ask questions, and make sure you're asking the right questions to keep your idea running. And so Dr. Akanimo mentioned that he has an Excel spreadsheet of people who can give him money. Please, Dr. Akanimo, I need that information from you. Please tell us the people who can give us more ideas.
So I'll tell you what, it's very interesting you asked that. So I think everybody should develop a capacity or actually develop their own, what I call money crew. I took some time developing my money crew. So I know which organizations, institutions, bodies, which companies give money, bursaries, scholarships, funding opportunities, travel grants. I mean, Just make Google your friend. You'll be amazed how much information Google has. And I think it's just a question of understanding what you want and finding out who has what you have and can give it to you. But you can develop your own Excel spreadsheet as well. Everybody can.
Wow, interesting. So just like we said earlier, make Google your friend, research, understand what you want, and the people who have what it takes to pay for what you want or pay for the idea you're running. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Akanimo. It's been an amazing session with you today. I truly learned a lot. And for you out there who decide to stay through with us through this edition, thank you so much. I'm also sure that you learned one or two things from Dr. Akanimo. And please don't keep your ideas in your stomach or in your mind. It's time to birth them. It's time to run with them. And it's time to think through the processes to run with your idea. So we'll come your way again next time. Please do join us. And if you're yet to subscribe to this page, please subscribe, like, share, and comment. I love you. Do have a great time ahead. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.